Hey Meg, how are you?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So I was on your Instagram earlier this morning. I was writing questions for you, and I was on your Instagram and I saw you were at ABS Chicago, and I'm a little bit jelly. I wish I was there. It looked fun. Tell me, how was it?
It was so much fun. I hadn't gone to ABS since I was 19 years old. My mom had to take me. I wasn't old enough to drive that far away by myself. And this was my first time speaking on stage, and I got to three times. It was really incredible.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so this is kind of maybe the first full season of hair shows that we're back. I say that just kind of from my own feeling. Maybe last year we had a full slate of shows, but maybe it didn't really feel like it. But this year, the shows are fully back, and we had a premiere Anaheim here in Los Angeles, well, just south of Los Angeles, Anaheim, Orange County, a couple weeks ago. And I went. It was a little bit lightly attended. Now, it was the first premiere Anaheim, so there's no more ISSE. But how was Chicago? How was ABS? Did it feel alive? Did it feel active? Were there plenty of people?
Yes, there were so many people there. It definitely feels like the start of hair show seasons again after the pandemic. I feel the show floor was very spread out. Like I went to Premiere Orlando last year, and that was a very busy show for all the hair shows that I went to last year. It definitely felt like there were the same amount of people there. It was a huge show. Lots of people in all the classrooms and attending the main stage productions. It was really cool.
That's fantastic. I love hearing that. And hopefully Premiere Anaheim can bring that energy next year. I'm hoping that that's the case because maybe they'll have a little bit more time to plan the show and get it going. I mean, Los Angeles is the largest hair market in the world, is from what we're told. And I've always thought that it's just a tragedy that we don't have a better show here. ISSE in the early years, well, when I say early years, it was early years for me, like I've been in this industry for 23 years, and there were a lot of ISSCs that were busy and awesome. And then, of course, COVID impacted us. But I really hope that Premiere Anaheim can become that.
Yeah, I was bummed out I didn't get to go to that show. I was really excited for Danger Jones launching there, and their two-story booth looked really cool. I was really excited for them to be a part of Premiere Anaheim.
It was really cool. I saw David and Alexis, talked to them for a while. I went on, what was it, a Monday. So it was a Sunday, Monday show, and I went on Monday, and I got there at like noon. And the show generally seemed a little bit light in terms of traffic, but maybe that was good for me because I got to go around and see people, see friends, that I hadn't seen in a while, and when it's busy, sometimes it's more difficult to connect with people like that. So, hung out a little bit at the Danger Jones a booth, if you want to call it a booth. It was more like a two-level stage. And of
Yeah,
course,
it
David and
looked
Alexis,
awesome.
always so creative in what they bring to the community and what they bring to their brands. For those of the listeners who don't know, they were the peeps behind Pulp Riot, and they sold Pulp Riot to L'Oreal, and they left, and they're now doing Danger Jones, and he's going to come on the show.
Oh,
But
yay.
that's cool. So are you with Danger? Are you like an ambassador or a educator?
I actually don't think they have anybody official with them yet, but I'm definitely using Danger Jones. I got to go out to Butterfly Loft in March and do a video with them.
Mm,
I am fully supportive of Danger Jones and the people behind it.
very cool. So and the slate of products is Vivid Color, correct?
Yes, yeah, it's just Vivid Color right now.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So at ABS Chicago, you were on stage for something. Tell the listeners what you're on stage for.
So I did two panels. One was more for like salon ownership and building your clientele via social media. And the next panel was speaking to students about using TikTok to build their clientele. And then I was on stage with Sam Villa and me, Siri Parks, and Teresa Van Dam, who are also on TikTok, did color presentation. And we actually all used Danger Jones, and they colored on mannequin heads, and I colored extensions. I'm with Drop Dead Hair Extensions as well.
Very cool. Okay, so I want to get into a few of those topics, but why don't we begin with your story? Where are you from, and how did you get into this crazy business?
Yeah, so I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. I still live here. I always knew that I wanted to do hair. There was nothing else that really stuck out to me growing up. I wasn't super good in school, and I was always the friend that was doing everybody's hair for prom and homecoming or going to weddings. I'd set up my parents' master bathroom like it was my salon, and I'd literally have a schedule and do people's hair and makeup starting at like 6 or 7 in the morning. And wow. I grew up in church. I did it for all my friends in church with their friend groups. I had my own little business going. I totally thought that I was going to be in like the wedding hair industry, and you will never catch me doing hair at a wedding now. I was in high school and doing all that, and I actually graduated high school early so I could get right into beauty school. So I went to the Aveda Fredericks Institute in Cincinnati, and I graduated a year later, and I started in a commission salon. I was there for 2.5 years, and then me and another girl got 2 suites at a Salons by JC, and we knocked the wall down in between and had like one larger suite. And after being there for, again, about 2.5 years, I opened my salon. It's called Olive and Ivy Salon. And it was a 6-chair booth rental salon with 1 suite. And we opened in October 2019. And in 2021, we had the opportunity to expand into the storefront next to us. So again, we knocked down a wall, and now we have 13 chairs and a suite, and it's a hybrid commission and booth rent salon. And I have a training program for what I call baby hairstylists that come right out of hair school. And I also travel to teach in other people's salons. And I love doing social media stuff. TikTok is super fun for me. And I love connecting with other hairstylists that way. And I hope that hair shows are like a new path for me. It's what I've been doing all of this for. I have always really wanted to be a part of hair shows. So this past weekend was really surreal that I got to do that. It's surreal being here right now, but talking with you.
Thank you. It's awesome talking to you too. That was probably one of the best summaries of one's career that we have had in our 5-year history here on the Hair Game podcast. I would say, I know you listen to the show, so you know that that's a question that I often start the episodes with. And, everybody's different in their answer. And it's one of the reasons why I like to basically toss the ball to the guest to carry it wherever they want with, how they got into the business. And but you just summarized it top to bottom there in like 3 minutes. That was pretty spectacular. Okay.
Well, you can thank Ben Mullen for that. Do you know Ben Mullen?
Of course I know Ben Mullen. Ben Mullen's been on the show too. He's a buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did the Ben Mullen project.
With Ben Mullen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a trainer with him. He hosts in my salon now.
That's awesome. So is Ben, where does he live again?
He lives in Illinois, so we're about 5 hours away from each other.
Okay, so you're pretty close. I did see on your Instagram that you do host him in your salon, and that's awesome. And I love what he does so much because his education is unique to what mostly is out there in our industry, and it goes to kind of the core of who each person is and their confidence and bringing out, the very best in people's personalities and their psyche and getting us kind of aligned and balanced so that we can be the best. And how amazing is that?
His class changed my life. It changed my life. I took his class in February 2020 at Kat Colette's salon with Love in Kansas City. And I shook like a leaf that whole class. I almost didn't go back for day 2. And I'm so glad that I did, and applying it in my life afterwards, which, as we know, the month later, the world shut down. It just has completely turned my world around. I support him wholeheartedly.
That's amazing. I love it. Okay. Let's get into a topic that I used to talk about quite a bit. And then there's a period of time when I kind of stopped talking about it with our guests. But I want to kind of pick it up with you. And that is basically social media, because a lot's changed in social media. Like you said, you were on a couple panels talking about TikTok and probably more broadly social media. So why don't we just start with where your head is with social media in general these days within the beauty community?
Yeah, I've been on Instagram for a really long time. I had been working on my social media since I was in high school, like doing my updos. And I actually lost my Instagram in 2022, December 2022. I woke up and all of my accounts were disabled and I never got them back. So
oh my gosh.
Whatever I have now on
like hacked or whatever. I mean, I know this happens.
Yeah. So I think it was my Facebook that might have gotten hacked. I had I woke up and I had a bunch of violations on my Facebook for very obscure things that I did not do. So I don't know if I was hacked or if somebody just went through and reported all of my stuff. But because my Instagrams had business accounts attached to it on Facebook, my Instagram account, my salon's Instagram account, and then my personal Facebook and those business pages attached to it all were disabled, and Meta doesn't really have customer service. So I never got it back and had to just rebuild. So whatever I have on Instagram is what I've rebuilt in the last year and a pinch that I've had it. But I definitely think my TikTok has supported my Instagram. I'm almost at where I was before I lost my Instagram accounts, and the salon account has grown even more than before I lost it. So I really attribute all of that to TikTok.
Okay, so TikTok started, I mean, what are we, like 3 years maybe into TikTok becoming really popular, give or take?
Yeah.
I lose track of time, especially with COVID. So it's been about 3 years with TikTok. I know that a lot of beauty professionals generally were kind of like eye rolling when TikTok came around, and they're like, oh my God, like they felt like they didn't even really have the time to support, the improvement in their Instagram account, much less all of a sudden having to support a new platform, right? So what say you in the whole topic? I mean, if somebody hasn't really, if a hairstylist particularly has not spent much time on TikTok, and they're barely keeping their head above water with Instagram, what should they do in your opinion?
So with TikTok, you definitely have to be more vulnerable. Like you're talking, it's video, like your face is in it. In my opinion, like that's what gets the best engagement is when you are in the video. So I understand that there's like this big scary idea of putting yourself out on the internet in that way. You're not just posting the back of somebody's head like you do on Instagram. It's much more personal. I would challenge everybody to do that though, because I really find as far as like building your clientele, if that's what you're looking to use social media for, using TikTok, people feel like they know you. And I feel that you get your target demographic like so easily on TikTok because it's so personal. So just like take the leap and do it. You're standing in your own way by not doing it.
I mean, that sounds like Ben Mullen talking right there. I love that.
Oh, that's such a compliment.
It is absolutely. So are you telling us all that you can get clients through TikTok?
Absolutely. I would say that 90% of the new clients that walk in my salon's door are coming from TikTok. It is not from Instagram. It's not from word of mouth. I spend $0 on marketing for the salon. It is from TikTok.
That's wild stuff. You know, as we're talking about TikTok, I want to say the last TikTok focused episode that I did was pretty early on, and I got a lady named, oh my God, I'm going to forget her name. It's been at least maybe 2-3 years since we did the interview, and she worked for a company that was in charge of TikTok, and then she went on to be the New York Times tech editor. And she came on. Yeah, I know that she became kind of a big deal. I don't think she's there anymore. Maybe because she's gone up from there. I haven't really paid attention, but she became kind of a big deal. Maybe she still is a big deal. But she told us all about TikTok early on. And I think that our listeners, that episode and a lot of her advice kind of fell on deaf ears because nobody really wanted to put the effort in. It's always the calculation of, when a platform is new, do I invest the time? Not recognizing, or at least maybe I should say recognizing, that the time could be totally wasted because the platform could go nowhere. With maybe the opportunity that if it goes somewhere, then that time is going to be very well spent because maybe I can have an early presence on a new platform. But so hard in our daily lives to find the nooks and crannies of time to put into stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like what you talking about, like if a platform does well or not, it kind of made me think of Periscope. Like Periscope was super short-lived, but a couple people did so well on there. Like I still remember like Rebecca Taylor and Ruby Devine doing Periscope, but I can't think of anybody else that did Periscope. Like those two people stuck out to me, and that's
what
did
made Periscope for a little bit.
He did.
Yeah.
I probably watched him on there too. I can't remember how long ago Periscope was even a thing,
yeah.
But even I don't know. I feel like I started TikTok not to have like another business thing. It was just fun. And that's how I look at all social media now. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm having a fun time doing it. I have a fun time connecting with others on there. I think when I label everything as work, it feels like work then. Yeah. So I just have fun on TikTok.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Well, first of all, I have to throw out maybe a lifeline to Clubhouse for a second. You remember Clubhouse?
Yeah.
That was popular about
Jenny
2 years ago.
Jenny Strebe was big on there.
Who was?
Yeah, Jenny Strebe with Air.
Yep.
Jenny Strebe with Air Professional. She's the only person I think I ever listened to on Clubhouse.
Yeah. Clubhouse was popular there for a moment, and I know a lot of listeners reached out to me and they're like, "Oh, when can we hear you on Clubhouse?" And I think I did it once or twice, and I was like, I cannot fit this in. I just can't. And hopefully, our listeners like us enough to jump over to Clubhouse if Clubhouse became a thing. But I was unwilling to take from one bucket, that required my time at the time and move it over to the Clubhouse bucket. And so I'm almost glad that Clubhouse went nowhere. Because
I can't do it. I can't take the pressure of another one.
I can't do it. And it's live, so you have to schedule it, and you have to get everything just tip top, and then you have to advertise it, so people show up at a certain time, and all sorts of other things that just was not doable for us. So kind of glad that Clubhouse crashed and burned. Yeah. So it's Periscope too. That was a thing. And there's Vine was a thing. There's all sorts of, there's a history of things. TikTok seems to have captured people's attention and stuff, and it seems to have a real life. And do you think that it's taken away from Instagram?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it has. I think Reels is trying its hardest to keep up with TikTok, along with, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook has one too. Everybody's trying to be TikTok, I think. But I don't think Instagram's doing as well anymore as TikTok is.
Yeah. Engagement is definitely down on Instagram. There's still a lot of it, so it's still worth being there. What say you in regard to using the same content on on TikTok as you use on Instagram? Because that's kind of the hack, that we certainly were looking at, as well as I'm sure everybody else. Okay, we don't have double the time to spend on social media, so how about we just reuse what we've done for Instagram on TikTok? What say you?
I don't ever make reels, so I'm never making a reels on Instagram and then putting it on TikTok. I put my eggs in TikTok's basket. So I will, if I make a video that's under a minute and a half, because reels is only a minute and a half, I will take off what is that called? The little TikTok moving logo thing, and I will put it on my reels. Mm-hmm. But it's like I'm half-assing Instagram because TikTok's going well for me.
Right. So basically you're doing the opposite of what I was asking. You're making you're making on TikTok, and then you're using it on Instagram and half-assing, as you say, which is still going well for you because it looks like you've got great engagement on, but you are getting better engagement on TikTok, you're saying.
Yes, way better engagement on TikTok. But it's funny, I feel like if a video doesn't do that well on TikTok, it usually does better on Reels, and vice versa. If it flops on Reels, it does better on TikTok. I think it's just two different crowds that are scrolling.
Yeah, interesting. The crowds differ how?
I think that TikTok is younger, and I feel like Reels is very delayed on the trends. So if I'm posting a TikTok that did well on Reels, it probably would do better maybe like 4 to 6 weeks later on Reels, like after the time that I posted it on TikTok.
Very interesting. And so the listeners are thinking, okay, well, I'm not spending time on TikTok because TikTok users are between the ages of 13 and 19, and they can't afford my services.
I guess for me, I'm not using TikTok to gain clientele for myself. I'm more using it to connect with other hairstylists and promote the classes that I'm doing. So I could see how that feels tricky to people that don't want a bunch of 19-year-olds in their chair. Yeah. But in my experience, when I am opening up my books, or if I'm doing a model call or something, I am finding people that look like me, talk like me, act like me to sit in my chair. And those experiences with the clients that I'm finding on TikTok are so rewarding. I feel like instantly connected to them in a way that I don't feel with Instagram.
I wonder so you're doing very well getting new clients. You said 90% of the new clients you're getting in your salon are coming from TikTok. So the question one that I have related to that is, are they coming because of your TikTok, or are they going to you, or does your salon have a TikTok and they're just going to the salon in general?
A lot of the stylists in my salon also use TikTok, not as heavily as I do. I would say my books are closed most of the time. I take a couple new clients here and there if I just started doing extensions. So if I can find somebody that wants to do vivids with extensions, I will make time for them. But otherwise, the new clients coming to the salon, I would say, are typically from my TikTok, and they're going to other stylists in the salon. But the salon does not have its own TikTok.
Got it. And then do you think that you've been particularly successful at getting clients to go to your salon and you from TikTok because of the type of services you do? Certainly vivid color, it's a thing for younger people, younger clients. Extensions, maybe not so much, but you do very creative color, which tends to be a younger client.
Yes, thank you. I would actually say my typical client is probably in late 20s to early 40s. I don't have any teenage clients or nobody in college. All my clients are a little bit older. And for the clients that are coming to the salon in general, not just from me, there are all kinds of hair services and hair textures, hair colors. I think that they can see like the vibe of the salon, and that's what they want to be a part of. We're very inclusive. I would not call us like professional. Like we're playing explicit music. We talk however we want. We dress however we want. The salon does not have a dress code. And I think people just really enjoy that environment. It's like the best part of a lot of people's weeks. Like we have a bunch of people that come in to get shampoo styles that, aren't 90-year-old women with roller sets. They just want an hour in the salon to spend with us for a week because it's just a fun place to be. And I think you can see that through my TikTok videos.
And that's why I ask questions like that, because I think most people would assume that you're doing well at getting clients from TikTok because you do the vivid colors and the creative color that you do, when in fact you get a lot of different clients from TikTok, which is really great. And I think, should encourage people to put a little bit of effort into TikTok. If not, maybe take the effort that they do what you're doing, which is take the effort they're putting in Instagram, move it over to TikTok, and then kind of fertilize Instagram with the dregs of what they're doing on TikTok. I don't know. I'm not telling people to do anything, but it sounds like it's working for you.
It's absolutely working for me. I'm actually happy that my Instagrams were taken down, because it kind of lit a fire under me to move forward more with my TikTok, and seeing that growth was really, really cool and inspiring.
That's a good point. Something that you said about 10 or 15 minutes ago, you said that you just like to have fun with it, fun with social media. And if you think of it like work, then maybe it takes away some of that fun. Do you think that's a personality thing? You just are naturally, a fun person who gravitates towards social media? Or do you think that's do you have any shyness and you have to consciously tell yourself that it's fun and then it becomes fun?
I mean, not every day is fun. Like, we all have hard days, and I always say, like, consistency isn't comfortable, and being consistent is really important to me. It makes me think of those people doing cold plunges in the morning. I watch people do those on TikTok, and they don't want to do that every single day. And like, that's how I feel sometimes too. I'm like, I know I need to make videos and I know I need to post, but majority, I really have just always enjoyed social media. Like, I always say that I feel like I'm doing what I did as a kid. Like, I used to play on this photo editing website called Picnic, or there was this a website called Polyvore where you like did layouts, or I was super into YouTube. Like, I made slideshows for fun when I was in school. Like that was just, I was always playing on the computer, doing that kind of stuff and engaging online. So I don't know if that's just a natural thing for me. And I'm not typically a shy person. I'm very like open. I talk about everything. You might see me crying on TikTok every once in a while, sharing something that I'm going with that might be hard. I just really value the connection off of social media. And so it is fun for me.
Okay. So how many hours a day would you say are you on TikTok?
Actively making videos, not that long. I would say maybe an hour a day making videos, but scrolling and finding video ideas, I would probably say maybe embarrassingly like 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe more than that sometimes.
and that's why I ask, because I think everyone has a different idea of how much effort it actually takes. Some people might have thought that 45 minutes was a lot. Other people may have thought that 3 hours is not a lot on social media. I mean, I certainly know with my personal behavior on Instagram, I have kind of avoided TikTok personally because I just do not have the time. Like I run a business, right? And we take care of our 2,500 beauty professionals, and we have salons in 4 states and stuff, and we're growing. And those are things that my duty and responsibility is to that first and foremost. It's not to populating TikTok or Instagram. And so I just don't have the time. I know that with my behavior, despite what I just said, if I go on to Instagram, 45 minutes is poof, gone. I don't even know what happened.
It feels like 3 minutes.
It feels like 2 minutes. And I don't even know what happened. It's like I go into my DMs, and my DMs is like an abyss. And, a lot of, and I'm not discouraging people from DMing me. I like DMs, but I know that I just can't go in there because it takes forever. And I just don't have the forever. You have to prioritize. But yet Instagram is so good, and TikTok maybe even more so. I've not gone there. Like I said, I haven't spent a lot of time on TikTok, but it is, I've said this before, it's probably the greatest device in the history of man and woman at knowing exactly what we want to see and spend our time viewing. And it gives us nothing but that over and over and over again. It knows exactly what we want to see. So if I am into watching surf videos, it's going to feed me the greatest surf videos, one after the next, until I can grab a hold of my attention and pull myself away from those things that I really, really want to see. And so, and that goes for anyone, and the, you know, subjective nature of what each of us as individuals want to watch. And that's what makes it so damn good at taking our attention. I recognize that it is an abyss for me, and I can't even go there.
Gosh, podcasts do so well on TikTok, though. Podcast clips like this do so well on TikTok.
Well, we're going to test that out. I mean, Salon Republic has a TikTok that's active, you know, because we've got Sean, and Sean is awesome at doing things. And we make, you know, memes. We make salon memes and fun stuff. It's not me doing it. It's him doing it.
You got a guy.
He's better at it than I am. You know, he's also like in his 20s and stuff. I'm in my 40s. And that's his full-time job. So he's good at it. We're going to definitely see if this video does well on TikTok. I certainly hope it does.
Yes, that's awesome.
Okay. So what kind of videos particularly do you find do well on your Instagram? And I'm asking this question to help guide the listeners who are thinking, all right, fine, you know, maybe I will spend time on TikTok.
I would say my videos that do best on TikTok are kind of the style of videos that you see posted on Behind the Chair all the time. Like, it's typically a silly lip syncing video that doesn't take that long to do. You just got to find a trending sound, and usually those do really well. I also love doing transition videos of like before and after on my clients, but you won't really see me posting a lot of videos on Reels of me talking, or like I do outfit videos on TikTok. Like, I wouldn't typically post that on Instagram. I would say the transition and the lip syncing videos do the best on Reels.
Something just triggered my memory that I read that Instagram is deprioritizing videos that have the TikTok logo. Is that correct?
Yes. And actually, if you have the TikTok logo on your Reels video, you cannot monetize it. So if you're a part of the creator accounts on Instagram, your videos that say TikTok on it, you will not be able to make money off of. That's a newer thing. I realized after a whole month had gone by, I went and checked my creator account, and all of my videos said not monetized.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing that up, because this is something that I found fascinating when it began. So let's talk about it. We haven't talked about it yet on the podcast. Let's talk about the monetizing. TikTok is monetizing, correct?
Yes.
YouTube has been monetizing for a long time. I think we all know the stories of, you know, the top 1% of accounts on YouTube, people making kids, sometimes like an 8-year-old making millions of dollars a year with their 20 million followers on YouTube.
Yeah, so, YouTube is crazy with like big followings, like Shane Dawson and those kind of people that were like 5-10 years ago. Just wild watching them explode. It
is. And making a living of it on it. And you see all of a sudden they've created companies like bona fide media businesses with CFOs and CEOs running these businesses that are basically the guy on TikTok doing whatever.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Okay, so Instagram is monetizing too. Tell us about that.
I started doing I can't remember what it's called, like the Reels bonuses, maybe 6 months ago. And I get paid better on Reels than I do on TikTok for monetization. And I post way more on TikTok than I do on Instagram. But I think Instagram just pays a little bit better. Like, I'm open about it. I might get $150 a month from Instagram versus TikTok. A typical monthly, like, pay to me might be in between 100 and 150 maybe.
Okay, and so to give the listeners an idea of the engagement on your account, I believe on Instagram you've got about 40,000 followers. Of course, that's you trying to pick up the scraps of your previous Instagram account, but you got about 40,000 followers on there, which is amazing. And then on TikTok you got like 277 or something.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's crazy, like the following difference. And I have way more views on TikTok.
You have, you're using the pin feature on both accounts. So you're able to pin, a preferred video, whatever, for whatever reason you want to pin a video on the top, row of your feed there. You can pin videos, and I think your top video has 5.7 million views. I just saw before we came on TikTok.
Yeah, that was crazy. I just did that maybe 2 weeks ago. That client in my chair is actually a TikToker. She has like 5 million followers. And I always joke that I'm going to put that in my bio, Gabby's hairstylist, because it is just crazy. Every time I get on a live, is Gabby there? Is Gabby coming? People call the salon asking for her. So yeah, I'm going to pin that. Absolutely.
Got it. So you did a really good job of collaborating with a TikTok star. And that you got some attention from that, which is always really great. And one of the early ways that people got big Instagram accounts, right, is they would collaborate with other people who had big followings. Okay, so
yes.
that's really cool. I mean, $250. I think you said $150 a month, give or take, from Instagram, and about $100 a month on TikTok. $250 a month. That's not too shabby. I mean, and of course, that's nothing compared to the clients that you're getting to come into your salon, and that's worth hundreds of thousands, maybe to your salon, right?
Yeah, I definitely don't think about the monetization with those apps that much. You make money off of those apps doing branded sponsored videos, and that just started for me in the last 6 to 8 months as well. And that's where the money comes in, not from posting videos and getting a couple pennies a day for that stuff.
So let's go there. So you're with an extension brand. Is it your extension brand, or are you an ambassador for the extension brand?
I'm an ambassador for Drop Dead Extensions.
Yes. Drop Dead Extensions.
But I also work with, I'm sorry.
Please.
Drop Dead Extensions, yes. And then I'm also in the K-Teen Artist Collective. So Drop Dead is a newer company. They just started selling to the public about 8 months ago. Christy Day, she's Drop Dead Christy on Instagram. So that is not something that I'm getting paid for yet. But K-Teen, I do sponsored videos for on a regular basis. They're super fun.
Got it. So you have a deal with K-Teen. So your deal with them says that you have to post a certain number of videos where you talk about K-Teen, and then you get your money every month. You don't have to tell us how or how much if you don't want to. But have you? I almost feel like you're doing a really great job leading this interview. I mean, you're literally, with your answers, you're taking me exactly where I want to take the listeners, which is phenomenal. It's like, I don't even have to be here.
This is so exciting. That's so nice to hear.
This is like the Meg Gilbert game podcast is what it is. Okay, so
that's so wild to hear you say. I've just been listening for so many years.
Thank you. Thank you. No, this is phenomenal and so much fun. I'm having so much fun. So this is another big topic that I don't mind jumping into right now, from social media into bond building. I get hit up constantly for kind of insider information on the bond building industry, because we are a distributor of lots of products, about 80 brands, to all of our beauty professionals. And Olaplex has been one of those brands since the beginning, when Dean was driving from Santa Barbara to my salon in West Hollywood to give product to Guy Tang in 2014. And then, we started selling it very early on, and Olaplex has become a publicly traded company owned by, and institutional investors, and it's worth billions of dollars, et cetera, et cetera. And then out of nowhere comes K-18. And K-18 seems to be taking some business from Olaplex. So were you an Olaplex user before K-18?
Yeah, I used Olaplex for 8 years, and I tagged the hell out of them, showed up at every event I could. I was all about Olaplex. We still have Olaplex in the salon. I sell the entire line. We still keep it in the break room. I let my stylists choose what they want to use. I don't force them to stick with one thing. So Olaplex is still in our back bar. But I tried K-18 for the first time in October this past year. and I just had really amazing lift. And I'm an hourly stylist, and it took down my timing quite a bit. And the hair feels amazing. I love it on extensions. It's just a really cool company, and I'm having a lot of fun working with them as well. Like the content that they have me make is a lot of fun. So it just works well with my life and what my clients get. But I am not like downing Olaplex by any means. We still have Olaplex, and I still use it occasionally.
Mm-hmm. So for those hairstylists who are listening who maybe haven't used a bond builder yet or have been using Olaplex for a while, explain the difference from your standpoint as a colorist of using Olaplex and K18.
Yeah, so forever Olaplex has said that like it doesn't slow down the developer. You don't need to up your developer. And after I tried K18 for the first time, I did notice that using the same volume developer, but with K18 instead of Olaplex, my lift was so much higher and quicker than when I was using Olaplex. And then not having to sit in the bowl with the #2 treatment on definitely took down a lot of my time, especially with my vivid services that I might do that multiple times. Just using the K18 leave-in treatment, I mean, you only have to wait 4 minutes before you can start blow drying the hair or applying your next color. And honestly, like using the K18 leave-in, you use it before you do a toner or a shadow root, as well as when you're finished doing your toners. And the hair just feels like so silky and nice, and like especially extensions, since extensions aren't growing out of your head, obviously, and you have to keep up with haircuts and whatnot. It makes your extensions feel brand new. So I just really am enjoying K18. But like I said, I had great luck with Olaplex as well. It just slowed me down a bit.
So how much time are you saving with K18 roughly?
It's hard to say because I stopped using the Vivid brand I was using at the same time, and I can apply the Vivids that I'm using now on wet or damp hair. So my services are honestly probably close to an hour and a half shorter now than they were before I switched to K18 and now using Danger Jones. And I also use Evo hair color, and they have a Vivids line called Stano. And so you can apply that on completely wet hair. So skipping out on a blow dry and the #2 treatment is literally like an hour and a half less.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah. And
that's huge.
And I'm a slow stylist. Like I've never been like 10 foils make it look like 300 foils or whatever. Like I'm just a slower stylist. And so for almost an hour and a half to be cut off my services was crazy. I had to raise my prices to make up for it.
That's really funny. So you said really quickly there that you're an hourly stylist. Are you saying that you charge hourly?
Yes, I charge hourly. I've tried all sorts of things. I did a la carte for a while, and then I did package pricing, and then I did hourly pricing, but services were priced differently for like per hour. And now I'm just like, I'm hourly for everything, and it includes anything: shadow roots, toners, multiple colors, whatever. The only thing that's not included in my hourly are extensions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you said that you had to raise your prices, which is such a key element because you dropped the amount of time that you're doing the service, and you're increasing the price. And some people will say, well, that doesn't make any sense. But of course it makes sense, because you're actually giving your client back time. You're giving them back. Forget about yourself for a second and think about, from your client's perspective, what value are they getting? They're getting an hour and a half back that they would have had to be in the salon there. And that's, everybody's time is valuable, yours and your clients. So it's worth charging more. I'm sure if you ask your client, would you rather sit here for 4 hours or 2.5 hours, and put a price on each of those options, they would pay a little bit more for the time to only have it be 2.5 hours, assuming that the result was the same.
Yes, absolutely. And honestly, even with my price increase, their service still costs a little bit less. I can just get in another client in the day, but their service is still less expensive, especially if I'm working with an assistant that day as well. I like to work in tandem with assistants so that we're both applying and blow drying and curling at the same time together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. So we're back to the differences between K18 and Olaplex. You said that there's a tremendous time savings. What about cost? I know that some people have said, well, K18 is super expensive because I think some of the SKUs are like $75 for like a little tiny package. And as someone who distributes hair product, I recognize that a lot of those little packages are highly concentrated product, but I don't use it because I don't color hair. So tell us, is the cost, how does the cost differ per service?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, being a part of the collective, I get a certain amount of free product a month, and I do about one video a month, and they send product for that too. So I might only be spending $50 a month myself as a salon owner on like more K18 product for me and the commission stylists that are under me. I would say if I was purchasing it myself, I still think I'd be spending close to the same amount just because I almost always had to buy one of those really big back bar sizes of the #2 in addition to the salon kit that I was buying. I honestly think it's around the same amount for me.
Okay. What do you think about the lawsuit that's out there with against Olaplex? Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I kind of think a bit of it is baloney. Everybody experiences hair loss I feel like at a certain point of their life, especially if they're doing chemical services, and we have the COVID hair loss that's happening right now, and things like hormonal birth control can affect it, or being postpartum mom. I just think there's so many things that can contribute to it, and how are they nailing it down to Olaplex? I feel like because Olaplex is such a big name, it's being talked about more, and, you know, it went viral on TikTok. And so I feel like it's just being heard more. But I would guess that every hair care line has experienced this to some extent. I just think that the Olaplex one might be louder.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And by the way, we are sponsored by neither K18 or Olaplex or anybody else. So I am free to say whatever I want about any of them, but I think it's horseshit. There's, I haven't read the brief, and I don't know the details of the lawsuit, but hair loss is something that could be attributed to so many different things, virtually impossible to find a causal relationship between one thing and the hair loss. But, and another thing that I found a little bit interesting about the lawsuit is that there's about 70 plaintiffs claiming hair loss, and the lawsuit is only for $75,000. Which is a little unusual. Typically with these lawsuits, people are expecting more money. Like if you ask somebody what value or what cost do you attribute to you losing your hair, somebody would say, oh my gosh, like tens of thousands, right?
Yeah.
And yet it's only $75,000. I don't know. I mean, maybe that gives it more credence, but it also, to me, makes it a little unusual. So really hard to make that causal link between the product and the hair loss. And it certainly sucks for anybody. My wife, feels like she's losing her hair right now, but she's gone through certain elements. Her mom passed recently, and she had breast cancer about a year ago. So, there's physical things that happen with our bodies. And sometimes that's reflected in, our rate of hair growth and health, stuff like that. Really hard
absolutely.
to attribute to
stress goes into it. Yes, stress goes into it so much, along with people dieting. I have found that so many of my clients don't realize that their hair loss could be from dieting, like they're not getting all their nutrients that they typically get. And it's a hard conversation to have with people too, with any of those things that we just discussed. But I have not ever found, I don't think, that a product has caused hair loss. Maybe just with Monet. I think that's the only one that I believe has caused real hair loss.
Oh, really? Okay, we're not going to talk about that one, but tell us about the COVID hair loss. What do you when you say COVID hair loss? What are you referring to?
I would say everybody that has sat in my chair now has had COVID. Every person I know has had COVID. Yep. I made it, and I didn't get it until August 2022, and I'm experiencing it a bit too. I feel like a lot of people are getting it like on the very tops of their head, or even like where people experience postpartum hair loss around their temples. But I I truly feel like everyone is experiencing it. It's part of why I got into extensions. I just started doing extensions this past fall. I was never interested in it before, but it gave me so much confidence to have extensions after feeling like I was having some hair loss that I wanted to give that to my clients as well. But it is wild. And I don't really feel like hairstylists are the only ones talking about it. I don't really feel like you're hearing it from your doctors or my clients that have gone to the doctor to talk about their hair loss. Nobody's saying COVID, but everyone's experiencing it.
It's interesting. I mean, I've had COVID 3 times, and like many people, and but I've been on Propecia and Rogaine for like 7 or 8 years. For a guy, I mean, I've said this on the show a few times, and I tell all of my guy friends, if you're not on Propecia, you're not thinking about it right, because it's just such a no-brainer. Now, this is, unfortunately, Propecia is a guy thing because it deals with the testosterone, and in it, I guess there's a blocker of some hormonal element of testosterone, and I'm totally butchering the science, but frankly, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line is it's good. It works for guys and the hormones that we have. I don't believe that they have a girl solution, but maybe that's come out and I didn't notice. Also, by the way, for the guys listening, or certainly for the hairdressers who have guy clients, Propecia also shrinks the prostate. And this is an amazing thing, because if you're a guy who's my age, mid-40s, as we get into our 50s, we have this thing called a prostate. And when that prostate gets larger, and this is getting gross, but when the prostate gets larger, then it could turn into a problem for us. You know, prostate cancer is one of the most common types of cancer. It's almost akin in terms of frequency or common, the amount that it happens with breast cancer. And it's oftentimes hormonally driven, and there's not much we can do about it. It doesn't have much to do with diet and all that for you fitness freaks out there. So Propecia actually inhibits some of the negative things that happen as we get around my age with the prostate. And so that alone is a good reason to take Propecia, not even talking about the hair loss. And so I advise everybody, every guy out there, to take Propecia. And then in a combination with minoxidil, it works like a charm. I was losing my hair years ago, and it reversed, literally reversed. It was a
wow.
miracle. Yeah, it literally reversed.
That's awesome. I'm glad that worked for you. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about hair loss. That's really interesting.
I did an episode on hair loss with my dermatologist, who spends a decent amount of his practice on it. And he talks about the different options. You might have to search that on the Apple or whatever search area for the podcast. But that was a pretty lengthy podcast that became a little bit technical. But he talked about the different options for guys and girls in regard to hair loss. But the other thing I wanted to mention was, you mentioned nutrition in regard to hair loss. What about all these hair pills? There have been hair pills, hair and nails, right, for decades. And I think nowadays the big one is, what's the big one again? Nutra something. I forget the name. Nutrisil.
I don't know. The only one that I've tried is the Sugar Bear hair vitamins, and I did feel like it did something after, I think they say 3 months. I think I maybe did it for 2, and I did notice like I had more hair growth than I typically would. Since I bleach my hair to the scalp, I can see my hair growth a little bit better. But I think if you're not giving your body the nutrients it needs, I don't think a little biotin gummy is going to solve all your hair problems.
You're probably correct. So do you happen to know what kind of nutrients you need? Like, should people eat more broccoli or what?
I don't know down to the specifics. I know that a lot of my clients that have played with like the intermittent fasting or the keto diet, it's affected their hair greatly. So I don't know too much. I'm not a nutritionist, but I know that those diets that we might be trying because we saw it on Instagram might not be the healthiest choice for our bodies in the long run. Interesting.
I've never heard that. But anytime you do an extreme anything in terms of diet, it kind of makes sense that there might be some benefits on one side and might be some costs on the other side. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. For those listeners who are most inquisitive, they can go down the rabbit hole of searching on Google, whether that's a thing or not. I'm not going to do that, but somebody else can do that.
Have fun. Happy scrolling.
Yes, enjoy. DM me and let me know. Okay, so I have a good question for you. What is something that you did in your career that you wish you hadn't done?
Oh, that's a hard one.
You're so young. It's like your career's not even long enough to answer that question, to ask that question.
I'm 27 right now. I opened my salon when I was 23, which just feels crazy. Like some of the girls in my salon are 23, and it's so wild to look at them and think that I did that at their age. Yeah. I still feel weird that I'm doing it at my age. Something that I regret doing. I almost quit when I left my first commission salon. And I wouldn't say that I regret going through that phase, but I wish that I would have given myself more encouragement and looked inwards more. I was in a really toxic salon environment, like a lot of people are. I did some research on like stylists and toxic salons or their experience with it a few years ago. And like over 50% of hairstylists have worked in what they would call a toxic salon. And then I think it was 50% of those people had been in multiple bad salon experiences. And I guess like I kind of regret being there as long as I was and giving as much as of myself that I did. But you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I learned a lot from that experience, and that's why I opened my salon now. But I definitely gave a lot of myself to a salon that treated me really poorly, and I wish that I could tell younger baby stylist me to have left sooner.
So give the young baby stylists listening a little more detail on that. Like what would define for them, maybe hairstylists who have just worked in one salon and they don't know. I mean, they're nervous to show up, you know, during the day, and sometimes it's not so comfortable during the day, and they don't feel so good at night. But like, is that really toxic? So how about define toxic for us?
Yeah, I would say that it comes from the owner and the manager of a salon. Like, we are responsible for the environment of the salon. It's not from, you know, Susie being a little bitchy one day. It's because the salon owner didn't manage Susie, in my opinion. So in the salon that I was in, that wasn't necessarily my experience like my other coworkers. My boss was very unreliable. She had addiction issues, and it was just very poorly run, and it caused me a lot of stress and everyone else a lot of stress. We ended up having a salon walkout, and it was just a very sad thing. It was a beautiful salon, and I wish that owner that I had the best, and I hope that she's healed from everything that she was going through at that time. But as a salon owner, practicing not being a reactive person and being highly responsible, I cannot explain like that is the heaviest part of being a salon owner to me, is the responsibility that I feel over the environment for my stylists and the clients in my salon. I want them to have the best possible experience, and I'm kind of treating them as if they are me as a baby hairstylist, like what I wish that I would have gotten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Very good. Who is inspiring you in the industry right now?
I'm very inspired by Jessica Powers. I think that she is just amazing. I've followed her for so many years, and I'm so proud to call her my friend now. I think she's very creative. I love the way she takes pictures. I love the way Lynn Fan takes pictures as well. Be Seen. He is just incredible. And the way that him and Maggie's salon like looks and acts, like I aspire to have like a group of people that are all so inspired and feel creative. I look up to Ruby Divine a lot. I look up to Rebecca Taylor. I've always looked up to Rebecca Taylor. It was wild. Yeah. She saw that I was going to be in LA last month, and she invited me over to her house. I had a sleepover with Rebecca Taylor. That still feels crazy.
Do you guys stay up late?
Attended. No, she wakes up at like the ass crack of dawn. She goes to bed at like 9 p.m., which
Oh my
I was
God.
okay with.
I'm
But I loved
jealous.
spending time with her Frenchies, and we did a collab in her suite on a wig. It ended up being synthetic, which was funny video after we spent hours doing a collab together. But I'm very inspired by a lot of the community. I'm very inspired by the stylists in my salon too. It's just a really cool community to be a part of.
That's awesome. Do you have any hair horror stories?
Oh, I was waiting for this one.
Yeah, I know you were. I know you were.
I had this client when I very first started that I gave her shampoo styles every week. She was probably 60 or so. Everybody in the salon claimed that she had a different accent every week. I don't remember where she claimed she was from, but she was just an obscure lady.
Wow.
And I colored her hair every fourth appointment. So once a month and 3 blowouts the rest of the month. And she just started to get weird. Like I'm not shy that I'm like a plus size person. And she would make comments about how it's okay to be chubby, or like she just made weird comments to me. And one day she came in and she was, I used to do it like a 4N on her, like every other woman in their 60s. And she came in, she sat down, and it was right after the holidays, and she goes, my kid said this color makes me look old. I need to switch it, but I don't want any chemicals. So I explained to her, like, honey, we always have chemicals. Water's a chemical. Like, there's no going around that. And I gave her options, and she picked one. And through the whole service, she was pointing at other clients and stylists in the salon going, you're not going to make me look like her, are you? You're
God.
like loudly to these people. And then she'd stand up and smell my hair color and go, I can't believe you're doing this to me. So obviously after this long appointment, I fired her. But still, like, this was maybe 6 years ago. I will once a year get an email from her asking if I can do her hair again. She left voicemails. She's left me emails. She used to call me Meg, my angel. Just the weirdest client experience I have ever had.
Gosh, I think that's just out there sometimes, right? Sometimes people are just quirky and uncomfortable and inappropriate.
Just wild.
And so I know that firing clients is one of the hardest things for people to do. So how did you do it? Did you do it there in person on the spot at the end of the appointment, or did you call her, or what?
No, I think I was 20 years old. My boss wrote the email that I sent, but I very much fire clients. I fire clients on a regular basis. I fire clients from the salon. I go through a yearly like clean out of my client list, not even if they're like awful people or something, just so that I can focus on like my specialties. But I rehome clients on a regular basis as well.
So like your root touch up clients, for example, if you, as you're building up your creative color clients, you kind of, what is the word you, God, there's such a good word for what I want to use right now. Scuttle.
Yes.
I think scuttle means when you get rid of something.
Yes.
And the listeners can tell me if I'm right or wrong there, but I think so. You scuttle your root touch-up clients.
Yeah, or like my natural clients, or if they decided to just get haircuts. And I also have like a policy that if they stop getting vivids, no worries. But you're gonna go to another stylist in the salon. It's just like a clear thing that I'm only focusing on doing vivids.
Got it. Super cool. Any last words for the community?
I don't know. We covered so much territory today. Any last words? We talked a lot about TikTok. I hope that you heard this and maybe feel encouraged to try playing with video a little bit more and put yourself out there. It's scary being vulnerable, but there's so much reward in it, not just on your books, but just feeling like a confident person as well. It did a lot for me.
Mm-hmm. And I think you gave a lot of great TikTok information for people. And I certainly recommend to the listeners to go to Mermeg's TikTok. I think it's Mermeg Hair on TikTok. Is that right?
Yep, on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay. And so that's where you want people to go, right? You don't care if they go to your website, but they can go to your website through your TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah, my link tree in bio.
There you go. Thank you so much, Meg. It was so much fun.
Yes, this was awesome. What a cool experience for me to have after listening to you for so many years. Thank you for having me. Hold on.
Wait, I'm gonna... I kind of screwed that up. Hold on. Wait, the listeners know that I have a new tool here, and I'm not good at using it yet. So, woo-hoo. That's them cheering for you, Meg.
For us.
Yes, for us. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great one, and I hope to see you soon at a hair show in person.
Yes, you too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.